There's something out there, just beyond our reach.
It's like opening your eyes for the first time after living in the dark.
Hey guys, you are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net. I'm your host, Spartan260, otherwise known as Mike the Birdman. And as you may know, I'm here without my compatriot AI, Alex the producer. That's right, I am doing a special bit of coverage this week ahead of the premiere of the Halo TV series that'll be premiering on Paramount Plus on March 24th. So I was given early access to the first 2 episodes of Halo earlier this week, and I've just found time now to put together some thoughts as we come off of March break here on TWIG and return with a regular show next week. But I wanted to get this coverage out while it was still relatively fresh in my mind. So a couple things I do have to get out of the way first. Paramount has asked me that I don't discuss any plot details or spoilers, so I'm going to be giving very broad general thoughts here, and I'm not going to spoil as much as I possibly can here, so don't get mad at me, I guess. And I guess other than that, and we're going to get this right out of the way, thanks to my wonderful wife Blair, she was able to tell me something that I didn't quite realize. The Master Chief, so John 117, is played by Pablo Schreiber, and that's a name that didn't really click with me. And then my roommate Shannon was walking through the room while we were watching one of the episodes, and she goes, "Oh, porn stash." So yes, folks, from here on out, the Master Chief is porn stash. But that being said, his performance from Orange is the New Black kind of gave me a baseline on what to expect from this guy. And I will say this. So from the 2 episodes that I've seen, Pablo Schreiber actually does a pretty good job as Master Chief. It's a different take. I think it takes a little bit more of the second episode for him to really kind of get into his role as John. I think he's emoting as much as he possibly can. Yes, you see his face. You're just going to have to deal with that. But it works, I think, in the context of what they're trying to do here. And I did actually ask Blair this because she watched a lot more Orange of the New Black than I did. And I would quote her as saying, he's a good supporting actor. Whether he has the chops to lead a series like the way he is remains to be seen. So it's interesting to see what they're going to end up doing with this series, because they have already said 343 is that this takes place in the Silver timeline. So we will have some familiar elements from the games, but not actually everything is going to be 1-to-1. And that's something, excuse me, that a lot of the trailers have made more or less clear. This takes place before the fall of Reach. I'm not sure how long before, but Chief is leading Silver Team, which is 3 other guys. There's 2 women, Riz and Kai, and Vernick, I think his name is. He wears the EOD helmet, that's all I know. Miranda and Jacob Keys are here, though not as you may know them, which I'm kind of okay with. Halsey's pretty great, actually. I do like her. And then there's a bunch of other UNSC things, and I really can't say too much more than that. But I kind of like the way this is going, because one of the things that I discovered while I was replaying Halo and going through Infinite, and when we did our big Halo special about a month and a half ago, I talked with Matt Forbeck, who is one of the authors of some of the Halo novels, and just realizing kind of how evil the UNSC is, you know, kidnapping kids, replacing them with these clones that would eventually die. And you realize just how evil the Spartan 2 program is, because these things were originally developed to fight insurrectionists, and then it just so happened the Covenant shows up at just the right time, and hey, these are the last great hopes of humanity. So there's that angle to consider with the storytelling. And I will say this, when they approach the world of Halo in the Silver timeline, they are telling a more human story, and that is something I'm remarkably interested in. And here's why. When I first started really getting into the franchise back in 2007, when I covered the launch for Halo 3 ODST, I had this wonderful dream, or this conception of an idea, where we would see a group of ODSTs and you would follow them like Band of Brothers. Like, hey, here's a really hardcore mission. You're going to be deep behind Covenant lines, and you're going to be doing the missions that the Spartans are prepping for. Like, you're getting the landing zone ready, so to speak. And I figured that would be the way to do a Halo TV show, because you could do big budget sets and you could do big budget aliens, but if you didn't want to involve the Chief or have minimal Spartan involvement, that's one way to do it. Here, Spartans are cool, but because we've all seen the trailers, and I'm going to base a lot of it off that plus my own observations, the Spartans look pretty good on screen. I mean, they're supposed to be these larger than life soldiers with their Mjolnir armor, and for the most part, they look pretty good. I mean, I will say I have seen some better looking cosplay at some of the larger cons, but when you maybe move that into the practical world, I wonder how much of that would actually work without them being able to, like, could they perform a stunt in it? And the armor on the show definitely feels more real world groundy than the other stuff. Although it doesn't look as good as, like I say, even Forward Unto Dawn's armor looks a little better at times, I would argue. But which series aliens look better? Definitely the Halo TV show, but I think it's going to take a little while for things to be what we're accustomed to, because we do live in this world of big budget sci-fi, big budget CG. Like, you think of anything that Marvel and DC has put out, but you even think of, like, you know, lower budget stuff you would see on Amazon or Netflix. And it's not to say that that stuff can't look good, because some of the aliens in Halo do look pretty good. Like, I really like certain alien designs I've seen so far. They look a little weird and close up at first, but once you kind of let that go, I think it looks okay. I'm trying to think of what else I should really kind of mention here. I guess in terms of, like, story elements that are here, I think if you're willing to be open to it, I think this has potential. The problem is, I think it relies on a lot of old tropes, but again, we've waited for this series for so many years. Will that be one of those things that people will just forgive? Like, oh, okay, that's how it goes. Sure, why not? And I think there's a very famous quote where there's only 6 stories. We just change up the details every time. And, well, what are you going to do, right? You can't exactly reinvent the Halo, so to speak. But here they've tried. And for the most part, I'm pretty much okay with some of it, because, like I said, it's a lot of familiar elements that you'll know, but not necessarily the way you remember them. So, again, it's almost like it's a variant universe from Marvel. So, and I know the other Spartans were pulled from 343's internal documents, so if they want to bring these Spartans into the core continuity of the game, then they could. They just may not have worked under Chief before. Like I said, that's why they're Silver Team, as opposed to Blue Team, which is like Kelly, Linda, and Fred. So, I think that's the names? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And again, and I guess, you know, almost 10 minutes into this, my experience with the Halo expanded universe is remarkably limited. I've read Bad Blood, I've read some comics, and that's pretty much about it. And And I've seen Halo Legends, Forward Unto Dawn, and The Fall of Reach. And I know there are some people out there on like the Halo subreddit, Halo Facebook groups, where they know everything encyclopedic forward and backwards. And will they enjoy the show? I hope so, because I think this is cool. And Paramount has already greenlit a second season. So I'm very curious to see into which direction and to which events will be covered in this. I mean, obviously, I think we're going to see the Fall of Reach at some point on this show, and I really hope they throw the budget into that pretty hardcore. I would imagine the series may end at the first Halo game, or maybe something like that, because the thing with Halo, and I think this works to its advantage, is telling it in a television format gives it more time to breathe. If you made a Halo movie, even if you put like $300-400 million into it, sure, it may look the part, but you would lose so much of everything. It would just be condensed. So that's why I'm kind of glad we're getting it in a television format in basically 1 hour chunks. That's another thing I don't think a lot of reviewers have discussed. These episodes are long, and they feel good, I think, in terms of pacing and what's going on. But then again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I guess some other kind of closing thoughts, I guess, I could share on this. Let's talk about some of the weaponry you see in this, because obviously you guys know I love fictional weapons. I love real weapons in real life. The AR looks a little weirdly oversized in Chief's hands, but I understand that's the point. It's supposed to be big. When you see Marines hold them, it looks a little funny. The battle rifle looked good, I think. I'm actually a big fan of how good that prop looks. Magnum looks fantastic. The DMR, I didn't realize there was a flashlight on the end of that gun. I don't know whether that's totally game accurate. I'm pretty sure that's the Halo 4 DMR. In addition to that, the sniper rifle looks really good. I didn't see any shotguns. Not saying they weren't there, but I didn't see any. Magnums look pretty good. To talk about the Covenant weaponry, I didn't realize how big the plasma pistol was. And the reason I say that is we have the Boomco plasma pistol. Years ago, I got a Halo 5 influencer kit, and they sent me a good chunk of the Boomco Nerf guns, or Boomco blasters, if I really want to be non-brand specific here. They gave me the Needler, they gave me the plasma pistol, and they gave me the Magnum. Obviously these are meant for children's hands, but you see just how little the plasma pistols appear in the Spartan's hand, so you don't realize just how small some of these things really are. So I was surprised to see that, the scaling of the Covenant weaponry. The plasma rifles look really good. I was really, really pleased with that. Plasma swords look good. And that's all the Covenant weaponry that I saw. I don't think I saw, the Jackal sniper rifles, and I don't think I saw the Covenant carbines. But I wonder if I saw their weapons fire. But then again, everything shoots green energy bullshit, so who knows? And the Warthogs look pretty good if the rotary cannon, which I found out is a practical prop, but it's not what you may think. You'd think they just took a deactivated minigun. No, that's an airsoft minigun. There was a feature out on IGN this past week, and they go into a little bit of that. But that's the only prop I don't like, is the Warthog of everything else. The frags look pretty good. Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff. And if you look in some of the Halo collector groups, some people have gotten props from the show already. I've seen an assault rifle pop up, but I don't know whether that was one from the set or if someone was able to recreate it from the trailers. Either way, neat, I guess. And I've seen people get stunt props from the show. I saw a Magnum pop up on the Halo subreddit this past week or so. I think either that or it was Facebook. So overall, I guess my final question I'm posing to myself and to you, the listener, will you enjoy the Halo TV series? Well, that depends on a few things. Are you willing to let go of what you know, but take familiar pieces? I think the big thing, like I said earlier in this review, is will this be enough to hold on to old fans? Will this be enough to introduce new fans to the series? And I know Xbox in the United States, if you have Xbox Game Pass, I think you get a free month of Paramount Plus. So you have no reason to not check this out. I'm going to say if you are already subscribed to Paramount Plus, it's definitely worth checking out. Because you're already paying the money anyway to go watch Survivor or Blue Bloods or whatever. But it's there, why not? If you are on the fence about Halo, then I would maybe suggest you try a free trial, give the first couple of episodes a whirl, and see where that takes you. To those of you that are very leery of what you've seen, I'm going to say find whatever way you can to watch this via free trial. It's entertaining. I will say that. I gave the series a 7 out of 10, but I'm also coming at that as a fan of the franchise and because I want to see this continue. And it's already, like I said, it's already been greenlit the season 2, so I'm getting my wish. But things can change in Hollywood on a dime. So my final recommendation for Halo the TV series is I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am worried at the same time. So if you can find a way to use your free trial to watch this, like I said, you can do that via Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, I think, if you're in the United States. If not, they're almost always running a promo. There's usually like a 30-day trial. Take a look at it that way and see what you think. Because I know either way, March 24th is coming up fast, and I really hope 343 and Microsoft takes advantage of this and rewards the Halo Infinite community with the armor cores from this game. So we better get the 3 members of Silver Team during an event or show up in our armory on March 24th. We'll wait and see. So until next time, folks, this has been UNSC Spartan 260, Mike the Birdman, signing off, and we'll catch you guys next time round the planet Reach, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Silver Team, on me. We're all we have now. It's just us.